We have some questions coming in on Slido, but I'd offer it out to the floor first. Anyone would like to raise their hand and ask a question to the panel after the two great presentations that we've just seen? No? Okay, everyone's a bit shy, waiting for that. So, first of all, I think this might be to you, Tim, or both, open. Do Christmas trees get collected as part of the service? How does this work with the winter break?
At the moment, I mean, we'll look at it because previously we stopped in November, started again in March, so we sort of missed that festive period. But we're only breaking for the 2 weeks over Christmas. We'll start again like early January. About the same time, people do start removing the Christmas tree. So it's highly likely we will, at that point, include Christmas trees.
We run a special Christmas tree collection. It's completely free. They don't have to put it in the bin or anything. It's for the so basically so it's basically straight after Christmas catch-up, which is a week after Epiphany. So they're going to have to keep it for a week, but then it's free. But we don't make them put it in a bin. And there was a sort of hope that some people might go, oh, that's a nice collection, we'll subscribe. I'm not convinced anybody did that, but.
So we have, if a resident doesn't want to pay for the garden waste collection, what do you advise? Do you offer an ad hoc one-off collection?
We don't offer an ad hoc collection now. We just tell them to keep hold of the bin in case they change their mind, which some have.
We also don't offer any ad hoc collections. We try and recover the bin as quickly as possible. We have got our own recycling centre, so we just generally send them there.
We have a question of how many properties on average do your green waste crews collect per day? Do we know that statistic?
When we were free, it was round about 1,400, but 1,500. But bear in mind they weren't all putting out. So I think now it's dropped down to probably about just over 1,000, 1,200, something like that.
So I think they cover 1,200 properties, if not slightly more, but they won't collect from 1,200 properties. In certain rounds, certain areas, they might get close to that because our areas are so, we've got some that have got so like dense populations of like subscriptions of like up to 80%, they might be collecting near on 1,100 a day, whereas other ones, they're having to spend an awful long time driving between properties.
Perfect, thank you. So we have one saying, did you have to change garden waste collection days to even out the numbers, and did you notify customers?
We didn't have to change days, but like I mentioned, we had our eight old rounds, free rounds, and we just populated those as the new subscribers came in, so they remained on the same collection day.
We've also we just made a decision that we wouldn't change collection days because we didn't want somebody's refuse and recycling collection on a Tuesday and their garden waste collection on a Friday or something. But we've got a number of drivers and stuff that are on 3-day weeks, so things like that have always been introduced at the beginning of the week because that's when our garden waste service is like the heaviest, and it also frees us up for later in the week to run other sort of trade collections and other things like that.
Perfect. Hopefully a quick fire one. Is what you can and cannot collect on your T's and C's?
It is, and it's on the lid of the bin as well.
As is specifically not. We've just put a link onto the website and it says refer to the website, because if you need to change it, you don't need to change the T's and C's, you only change the website. And if you need to change it 4 or 5 times a year because you've mucked it up, then the terms and conditions still apply.
Perfect. How do councils deal with bins presented with the previous year's sticker on?
Luckily, it's our first year, so I ain't really got an answer for that one.
If it's got the wrong permit on, you don't collect it. You just put a bin hanger on it mainly. Depends what time of year it is generally. If it's around resubscription period, for the first, we always give a month. So we always, subscription year always ends on the 31st of March. We always give until the end of April, and we collect until the end of April for those few people that go, well, I'm not going to resubscribe until the 1st of April because you're not having my money early. And then there's obviously a bit of a lead time for the permit to turn up and stuff. So we always give a month extra to go and collect those bins. So some people get a free month, but hey. And then after that, if they haven't got the right permit, they don't get a collection, basically.
Kind of on that timing one, Tim, if you're launching a new charge for service, does it have to start on a Monday, or as you just said, or can you set it the first of the month, even if it lands on a Thursday?
I don't really understand the question.
To clarify that one out there, but anyway. To Dudley, you operate Civica?
Civica.
Yeah, Civica, Whitespace and Permaserve simultaneously. Have you had any issues in taking and matching payments?
Yeah, it was to do with a Civica outage in, I think, in our second week of going live, which again is due to us not upgrading it. And we have a third-party system that also integrates into Civica, which is also being removed and updated. Lessons learned.
Just hopefully, what hours do your frontline staff work? Either fixed hours, or is it task and finish?
It's fixed hours. We brought the green waste in line with the refuse, so they do 6 o'clock to 2 o'clock fixed hours, just in case we do have breakdowns, and it gives a bit more longer to get some overtime in the afternoon.
We're old school and run task and finish still. Our garden waste crews do run longer hours in the summer than they do in the winter, but we drop the number of crews down, and we route optimise multiple times during the year to make sure that they do a decent day's work.
Gonna mix two here. So one of them, after introducing the chargeable garden waste service, have you seen a rise in residual waste tonnage? And on from that, of what would you change if you had to do the whole process again from scratch?
The first one's the easy one. Luckily, in Dudley, we've got an EFW on site, so we get all the tonnage data from that, so we haven't seen an increase really, nothing. You know, the tonnage is for green, like I mentioned, 80%. They haven't really changed that much, but we certainly haven't seen an increase in residual. And I think the lessons learned to explain what we'd change again, we just have to give ourselves more time.
Everybody, whenever they introduce things like this and fortnightly refuse collection, all sorts of stuff, they always go on about fly tipping increasing and lots of other stuff like that. I've never heard of a council that's ever had an increase of fly tipping. People generally that fly tip couldn't care less whether you've got a chargeable service or not. They will fly tip. If it's free, they'll fly tip. If it's chargeable, they'll fly tip, so don't worry about that. And I've never seen an increase in... so actually, when I used to run at Castle Point Council, we were still on black sacks. We just didn't take black sacks full of garden waste. They were stickered and they were put back on their property and basically said we don't collect it. In terms of things I'd change, I'd completely agree, is don't underestimate how much time you need to set stuff up, because if you set stuff up too quickly, you're going to make mistakes.
We have a question at the top with 2 upvotes, and it's for the autumn option. How do you deal with leaf fall that is from council trees? Do you allow a free permit? What's your stance on leaf fall and permits?
If it lands on your property, it's your problem. You pick it up and you have to charge for it. We get a number of complaints every single year. Basically, it's like, do you want that big, nice oak tree outside your house? If you're doing it, something lands on your property, it's your problem, basically. We're not giving you anything free. We'll come and clear the path up outside your front because that's our issue. If there's waste on your land, we're not going to pick out any waste up on your land, wherever it's come from. So it's your problem, basically.
I know our collection is like all year and the same price, and we did have a couple of complaints that they live opposite parks, live opposite, fields. Can we get it free or reduced? And it's on your property.
And then the question that follows is, what do you do about communal properties, homes, community group permits? Is there a difference for that?
We do say we don't mind if residents share a bin, but they sort the money out themselves. If they want to divvy it up between them, they can. We've had a couple of high-rise flats where they've got a few little pots and the little shrubs and that in the garden, and our housing team have paid for the subscription for those, but that's not many.
We also allow people to share bins and get multiple bins. We also run 1,100 garden waste bins at sort of a slightly discounted rate, which basically our trade waste team run. They still don't pay for disposal or anything, and it's not trade waste, but in terms of churches, allotments, and other people that might want to produce more waste, and there aren't a specifically normal domestic property, then we've got a number of churches or schools, for example, that if they run their own grounds maintenance, they might want garden waste collected. We just offer sort of an 1,100 rate, which is about, I think it's just slightly discounted at 4 times the price of a 240.
Perfect. And we have one last question. I know we've mentioned complaints a couple of times. So regarding complaints, e.g. miscollection, if a resident demands compensation, how do you deal with this and what do you offer?
If you have a complaint and want like a screamer, we don't offer refunds. We investigate it, but if there's any doubt that our crew may have missed it and not recorded, that sort of stuff, we'll probably offer them another collection, because we do a fortnightly collection. We might be in like the Stourbridge area on every Wednesday, but not the same streets. So when we're in the area, we'll offer to pick it up for them. But that's very rare, but sometimes, we make mistakes.
There's only a couple of occasions where our service has been so appalling we've decided to give them a refund on the service. And we did get one that went to an ombudsman that we ended up having to give compensation to the crew. Sorry, not the crew. They would have loved it from now. To the resident, but that one had a million different issues that wasn't just purely relating to miscollections.
Okay, thank you so much to our second session. A round of applause from everyone. Some fantastic presentations there.